Here are Snug Wrestling's top 5 best pay-per-view matches that went down here in Sacramento, California. Starting at number 5, I had Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt at Hell in a Cell. No, I'm just kidding. Nope, that is not on my top 5. That match was horrible. I was there, but I wish I wasn't even there. But I was, unfortunately. No, number 5, I have Randy Orton versus Triple H at the American Bash 2009. This took place in the Arco Arena, and this was a 3 stages of hell match. This was during a time where Randy Orton was big time healing, and he was feuding with the McMahon family. So the McMahon family, oddly enough, during this time were the baby faces. Randy Orton, the Viper, the Legend Killer, was going around taking out all of the McMahons, including Stephanie, Shane, Mr. McMahon, and also Triple H. This is when Randy Orton was football kicking or soccer kicking his opponents in the head, knocking them out, giving them concussions, and just going crazy. Randy was a madman during this time. So Randy Orton, he takes out Triple H, and then a few weeks later, Triple H returns, and Vince McMahon sets the match for the American Bash, Triple H versus Randy Orton. The first fall is a regular wrestling match, the second fall is a false count anywhere, and the third fall is a stretcher match. So the match starts, and this is a grudge match. Randy Orton took out Triple H's wife, Stephanie, with an RKO, booted Vince McMahon in the head, his father-in-law, so Triple H is coming back with some anger. Triple H loses the first fall. He disqualified himself because he couldn't help himself, and he hit Randy Orton over the head with the chair, so Randy Orton got the first fall. Triple H gets the second fall and pins Randy Orton outside of the ring. The third fall is the stretcher match. Now this is a very odd stipulation. This is one that we don't really get to see. The point of the stretcher match is you have to weaken your opponent and put your opponent on a stretcher and push the stretcher up the ramp to the stage and cross a yellow line. So there was a couple false finishes here with the stretcher where Triple H tried to push Randy Orton over that yellow line, but Randy Orton would jump off last minute. Randy Orton would do the same. So there was a couple close calls there, but the final one where Triple H was about to cross that yellow line, none other than the American Dream, Cody Rhodes, who was at the time part of a faction with Randy Orton along with Ted DiBiase Jr. They both come out and attack Triple H to help Randy Orton, but then Triple H gets the sledgehammer, takes out both Cody and DiBiase, but that causes a distraction for Randy Orton to take advantage. Randy Orton takes out Triple H with the chair, throws him on the stretcher, and crosses a yellow line. This was for the World Heavyweight Championship, so Randy Orton ended up retaining, but it doesn't end there. While Randy Orton was celebrating, Triple H gets the last laugh and hits Randy Orton in the face with the sledgehammer, and down Randy Orton goes, and he sells that perfectly. So that was number 5 on my list. I was actually there in 2009 with my little brother. That was, how long ago was that? That was like 14 years ago? 14, I believe. Yeah, so I had to include that match for that reason. And a lot of memories here, a lot of good memories. And at number 4, Snug Wrestling's favorite pay-per-view match that went down here in Sacramento, California was Marty Genetti versus Shawn Michaels at the Royal Rumble 1993 in the Arco Arena. This match was one that I had to include in my top 5 because this goes back to the very iconic moment where Shawn Michaels turns on Marty Genetti, giving him a super kick in the barbershop with Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Now this is something that people still talk about today. I'm sure everyone saw the Dark Side of the Ring episode on Marty Genetti, and this was a big deal in wrestling. So this match that went down in Sacramento was the fallout of all of that. That's one of the matches that went down with this Marty Genetti versus Shawn Michaels feud. And I'm such a mark when it comes to these things. Like the fact that one of their matches went down here in my hometown of Sacramento is amazing to me. I get excited over shit like that. So the first person to come out the ring is Sensational Sherri. Sherry, but people don't know whose corner she's going to be in. Is she going to be in Marty's corner? Is she going to be in Sean's corner? And these are two former partners, two former best friends that know each other so well, and I'm sure everyone knows the story because this is a feud that, again, is still talked about today. And the people in the Arco Arena here in Sac, they're really pumped for this. They want to see Marty Genetti get his payback, and they want to see Genetti get his revenge on Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, he's selling really good for Marty Genetti, and he's really getting him over. Near the end of the match, Sherry slaps Shawn Michaels, and there's a big pop for that because no one really knew where Sherry stood in all of this. Is she still with Shawn, or is she going to be with Marty? But no, Sherry turns on Shawn Michaels, slaps him, big pop, and then she tries to get involved again, tries to hit Shawn Michaels with the shoe, but misses and accidentally hits Marty Genetti. Shawn Michaels gives Marty Genetti a super kick and then wins 1-2-3. This was for the Intercontinental Championship as well. So Shawn Michaels, he ended up retaining here, but it was such a good match. A historic match, if you ask me. And that was number 4 on my list. And at number 3, you guys that really know me, you guys are going to be really surprised about this one because this was No Mercy 2016 in the Golden One Arena. Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz. And this is for the Intercontinental Championship, and also this is for Dolph Ziggler's career. So a lot on the line here in this match. And I know what you guys are thinking. Edgar, you don't even like The Miz. How are you going to put The Miz or one of his matches top 3 on your list? And here's why. It told such a good story. The Miz and Ziggler, they've had multiple matches before this pay-per-view where The Miz would cheat and he would outsmart Dolph Ziggler. And this was during the time where The Miz was the champion for a very long time, for over 160 days. And Ziggler, he was starting to be that main event jobber that we know now. He was taking L after L, and Ziggler was starting to doubt himself. So much so that Ziggler was sick of it and he was done with it. He was getting ready to just throw the towel in, but he gave The Miz an offer he can't refuse. Put your Intercontinental Championship up one more time, and I'm going to put up my career. So of course, The Miz, being the heel that he is, that's an offer he can't refuse, and The Miz accepted. So the match was set for No Mercy here in Sacramento, California. The match started off with The Miz getting offense, and the crowd tries to cheer on Dolph Ziggler, and The Miz is all over Dolph. The Miz tries to cheat to win, just like he has before on their other matches, but this time it doesn't really work for The Miz. Maurice is out there also and tries to get involved multiple times by distracting the referee. The Miz takes off the turnbuckle behind the referee's back and then throws Dolph Ziggler into the exposed turnbuckle, gives him the power bomb, but Dolph Ziggler kicks out and the fans pop big. And for this match, I know on paper Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz, it doesn't really sound like a very exciting match, but the people for this match were all for it. They were behind Dolph Ziggler. They were booing The Miz. It had a great story and the people were eating this up. And so was I, honestly. Maurice sprays Dolph Ziggler. The Miz gives Dolph Ziggler the skull-crushing finale, and luckily Dolph Ziggler gets his foot on the rope at the very last split second. And then the Spirit Squad come out. They brought back the Spirit Squad to remind Dolph Ziggler of how shitty his career has been. If you guys remember, Dolph Ziggler started off with the Spirit Squad, one of the goofiest gimmicks in WWE, and not a lot of people's favorite. The Miz gives another skull-crushing finale. Dolph Ziggler kicks out again. The referee kicks out Maurice and the Spirit Squad of ringside, and that distracts The Miz. Dolph Ziggler takes advantage, gives The Miz a big super kick, and wins 1-2-3. New Intercontinental Champion, and also gets to keep his career, and the crowd goes wild. The atmosphere for this match was crazy. This wasn't even the main event for this pay-per-view, No Mercy. The show started off with John Cena, AJ Styles, and Dean Ambrose in a triple threat match, and the main event was Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton, but this was my favorite match of the whole entire show. And Dolph Ziggler, he's always been one of my favorites. I mean, he's really underrated. I don't think he gets enough credit. So it was good to see him in the spot, and it was good to see him win, especially over someone like The Miz that a lot of people don't really like. And number 2 was Judgment Day 2001 in the Arco Arena, and it was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker for the WWF World Heavyweight title. And this is a anything goes, no holds bar match. During this time, Stone Cold was corporate Stone Cold. This was heel Stone Cold that was part of the corporation and was also the defending World Heavyweight title and also one half of the tag team titles. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H were the tag team champions during this time. So Austin was a double champion, and Austin was going around taking everyone out, attacking everyone, including JR, and was really going crazy during this time. Undertaker, he gets sick and tired of it, and he's gonna put a stop to Stone Cold's madness, and Stone Cold started messing with the Undertaker in ways that you don't really mess with, especially when it comes to someone like the Undertaker. Undertaker cuts a promo and said that someone from Cincinnati PD called him and said that his wife was in a car wreck and was seriously injured. Well, it turned out that this was something that Austin did just to mess with Undertaker. So of course, Undertaker, you don't mess with his family, and attacks Stone Cold Steve Austin. And this was that very crazy moment that I'm sure a lot of people remember. Undertaker ends up throwing Stone Cold through glass. Undertaker continues the attack, which causes the paramedics to take Stone Cold Steve Austin in the ambulance to take him to the hospital. But it doesn't end there. Triple H and Austin, they're in the back of the ambulance, and they tell the driver to go, hurry. But the driver ends up being none other than the Undertaker himself. So this is definitely a grudge match. This is definitely something serious that can only be settled in a match like this one. Anything goes, no holds bar. And because this is corporate Austin, Mr. McMahon, he's the first one to come out to this match. JR and Paul Heyman, the wise man, were surprised by Mr. McMahon's appearance, and Mr. McMahon joins the commentary booth. Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out, and he gets a mixture of boos and a mixture of a pop, which reminded me of the reaction that CM Punk is getting nowadays. And this is a jump start, but of course it should be, because this is not only the main event, but this is a grudge match, so this makes perfect sense. There was no other jump starts in this event. This was the only one, and this was when little stuff like that was protected back in the day. And Undertaker, he's beating the shit out of Stone Cold all over the arena, outside of the ring, in the stage area, and also in the ring as well. And Austin selling for the Undertaker as a heel is just something great and unusual that you don't normally see. Austin starts working on Undertaker's knee to keep the big man down, and how Paul Heyman likes to put it, he's dissecting Taker's leg. And Austin gets big time heat on Undertaker for a while during this match, but Undertaker comes back and gives Austin a big choke slam through the English announce table, not the Spanish announce table this time, surprisingly. And Vince McMahon gets involved. He distracts Undertaker to give Austin some time to recover, and then Austin hits Undertaker with the monitor. Undertaker does a little blade job there, but at least is not in front of the camera, and he gets some juice. Austin hits Undertaker with the big chair shot and a stunner, but it doesn't end there. Undertaker kicks out, and here comes Austin's tag team partner, Triple H. Undertaker takes out Triple H with a chair, hits Austin again with the chair, but this time Vince McMahon breaks the count. Undertaker gets Vince McMahon in a corner. Austin swings the chair at Taker, but misses and accidentally hits Vince McMahon instead. Kane comes out to help his brother, the Undertaker, but he's too late. Austin gets the pin and retains the World Heavyweight title. 1, 2, 3. And this was a really great match. It was a really good story. You have two of the greats, Austin and Undertaker. It doesn't get any better than that. You also have Mr. McMahon involved. You have Triple H involved. Amazing. This was 2001. I was 10 years old when this happened, and I was actually supposed to go to this. Some of my friends from school, they were going with their parents. They had an extra ticket, but my dad didn't let me go, and I still have a lot of heat with my dad because of that. I've never forgiven him for that. I have been to many wrestling shows, and my dad did take me to some. I've seen everyone. I've seen Lesnar. I've seen The Rock. I've seen Kane, John Cena. I've seen everyone. I've seen all the greats, Randy Orton, but the only person that I never got to see see was The Undertaker. I know, out of all people, one of the best ones, The Undertaker. I never got to see him, unfortunately, and now he's retired. So I have a lot of heat with my dad because of that, but oh well, it is what it is. So that was number 2. Snug Wrestling's top number 1 match from a pay-per-view here in Sacramento, California is Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt. No, I'm just kidding again. Bret Hart versus Razor Ramon. This was at the 1993 Royal Rumble for the WWF World Heavyweight title. And this was such a great match. Despite the story behind this match and why this even came about or how this even came about, it doesn't even matter because of how good this match was. I didn't even care to know what the feud is here. If these two guys just go out in the ring and just have a cold match for no reason, it would be great either way. And this match was amazing. There's just a lot of things here that we don't really see nowadays a whole lot. And it's the little things like Razor Ramon. He's the bigger guy compared to Bret Hart. Bret Hart, he's a lot smaller compared to Razor. So that was the selling point of this match. So Razor Ramon, he's overpowering Bret Hart in this match. Bret Hart, he tries to get the figure 4 early in this match, but he can't because Razor Ramon, he's too big. His legs are too wide. His legs are too long. So Bret Hart, he can't do his finisher on Razor Ramon, which that can be a big problem for Bret Hart. If he can't hit his finisher, how is he going to win this match? Bret Hart decides, okay, I'm going to work on Razor's legs. I'm going to work on the knee. And Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon, they do a really good job of explaining this tactic and explaining what Bret Hart's strategy is. He needs to take out the big man's legs. And also, Bret Hart's parents, Stu Hart and Helen Hart, they're ringside. And the way that Razor Ramon throws Bret Hart against the ropes and throws Bret Hart against the turnbuckles using all of his force, and just the way that Bret Hart sells it when he hits that corner turnbuckle, oh my god, you can see the power that Razor Ramon has, and Bret Hart does a really good job of selling that power. And Razor Ramon, he's in control during this match. Bret Hart is mostly fighting from underneath. Bret gets some offense on Razor, tries to get the sharpshooter, but again, even after all the damage Bret Hart has done to Razor, he still can't get the figure 4 locked in. But somehow Bret Hart manages to lock in the sharpshooter finally, and the referee calls for the bell. Bret Hart retains the World Heavyweight title, and the finish, it wasn't pretty, but it was effective. This was a struggle. This didn't look like a choreographed spot show. This was two guys trying to win, and this match was amazing to see, and that was my favorite match out of all of these 5 matches. And this was Snug Wrestling's number 1 match that went down here in Sacramento, California in the Arco Arena, and this was really fun. I really like doing this. I really like going back, and I watched this all on the Peacock. The Peacock is so great. They have everything. They have all these old pay-per-views. They have stuff from the territories. They have the NWA. They have the World Class Wrestling. They have Smoky Mountain. They have everything there. So you gotta love the Peacock. I love the Peacock. You guys know what I mean. The Peacock, the wrestling. But those are my 5 matches that went down here in Sacramento, California. I'm probably going to be doing this more often because this was really fun to see. Had to take a break from the modern stuff. Let me know what you guys think at Snug Wrestling. And if you guys want me to do one for your city, I'd be down to do that as well. So let me know. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk soon.